I'm gonna start it off by asking a question. Did Dame Lillard diss Giannis? That's the question, right? And so I guess you're wondering why I asked that. So I think it was over All-Star weekend. He got asked a question, and here was Dame Lillard's response.
If you could create your own starting five, what's your team?
It would be me, LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, and I'm gonna go with Bam Adebayo.
That's a tough.
So, I mean, did y'all hear that? Matter of fact, I'm gonna play it again because I thought that was crazy.
If you could create your own starting five, what's your team?
It would be me, LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, and I'm gonna go with Bam Adebayo.
That's a tough.
So, I think that's wild right there. So let's talk about it. Dame Lillard, over All-Star weekend, he became the 3-point champion and he became the All-Star MVP. First guy since Michael Jordan to win All-Star Game MVP and another award at the All-Star weekend since, I guess, 88, when Michael Jordan won All-Star Game MVP and Slam Dunk champion. So Dame Lillard, he's an elite scorer. We know how good he is. He's one of the best players in Portland Trailblazers history. I guess a lot of people would say he's the best player in Trailblazers history. Totally disagree. I think it's Clyde Drexler, and maybe you could make an argument for Bill Walton, but that's another story. I think I did a show on that a while back. You could probably check the channel. But yeah, he's one of the best players, easily top 3 in Blazers history. So outstanding team. So as you heard there, he got asked the question of who's his dream 5 he could play with, and I want to assume that they were talking about guys in the league now. So he says himself, Steph, LeBron, KD, and Bam Adebayo. So my first question on this is, I guess this positionless basketball thing is a real thing, huh? I don't get it, man. So obviously I came up in an era where basketball had positions: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. Those positions were defined and generally had defined roles, right? Now you had from time to time the super special player who could play multiple roles because they had the requisite size and skill set to do different things on the floor. And, you know, I had no problem with that. I thought it was pretty cool. But this whole positionless basketball, to me, that gets away from, that's like, what's the old saying? Jack of all trades, master of none. And so I think you should focus on one thing and master it. But guys, too many guys want to be trying to do everything. And I'm not really a proponent of that. So when I make starting fives, like all-time starting fives or whatever, I look for actual positions to fit, to actually create matchup problems against teams that don't have them. And when I say that, I make it up to say, I put teams together to say, okay, this is who I want running my point. This is who I want in my shooting guard, my small forward, my power forward, my center. For instance, if I had to make an all-time starting 5, I thought about this ad nauseum, and I always pretty much come up with the same all-time starting 5. And obviously, providing everybody's healthy, I got Magic at the point, Michael Jordan at the shooting guard, Larry Bird at the small forward, Tim Duncan or Karl Malone, that's a toss-up at the power forward, and Hakeem Olajuwon at the 5. I don't see any team beating that team. Now, I'm sure somebody could, have their arguments, but when that team is healthy, they can move the ball, they can shoot the ball, they can defend the ball on the perimeter and on the wing. They have, arguably the best court vision ever between Bird and Magic. So, and you got a bunch of guys that know how to play and be effective without the basketball. You have rebounding, you have rim protection. I don't see how you lose, but that's me. That's, I guess, my old head way of looking at the game, right? And so, I think that's how you should put a team together. So this lineup Dame created, I don't get it. It has no center. It has LeBron out of position at power forward. No matter what they try to say and tell you that he's playing, he's never really a power forward. That's just not LeBron, despite his size and strength and explosiveness. He's got 2 point guards who are really just small shooting guards and a big small forward in Bam Adebayo at center. How does that work? I guess this is just guys that you just want to play with, not guys you're trying to win with. I don't know. There's questions, right? Can LeBron play off the ball? Can Dame Lillard successfully play off the ball, right? We know KD can play off the ball. We know that Steph could play off the ball. But, it's a weird lineup that he put together. And here's another question for me. I'm really trying to figure this out. What is this Bam Adebayo love? I don't understand it at all. Seriously, I can't figure out. Like, I've watched the guy play. I've looked at his numbers. I've seriously tried to figure. He's a multiple-time All-Star now, and I cannot figure it out. He doesn't have a real position. And what is the best part of Bam Adebayo's game? Like, what is it? What does he do exceptionally well? And I don't know. He's okay on defense. I don't think he's a lockdown defender. He's not a shot blocker, even though he's 6'10". He's not locked down on the wing. He's not a three-point shooter. He doesn't shoot many. And I think this season he's less than 10% from three. So he's not a threat to stretch the floor as a quote-unquote big. I just don't get it. What is it with Bam Adebayo? Is he extremely coachable? Does he play extremely hard? I'm sure there's guys like that in the league, but nobody talks about them the way they talk about Bam. Is it because he has a catchy nickname, Bam? I don't know. I don't know. I'm realistic. Check this. I call him Bum Adebayo. It's probably unprofessional to call him. Call somebody a name, but I'm just not impressed with this dude. Never have been, and I can't understand why everybody is so enamored with him. But that's me. But the bigger question is, why would Dame leave off his teammate Giannis, who is one of the best players in the league right now, top 5 easy? Why would you do that? Is he seeing a lot of the flaws in Giannis's game now that he's up close and personal, practicing with him every day and playing games night in, night out? Is it not matching up with what he thought he was going to get when he came to Milwaukee? So, again, another old saying, grass is not always greener on the other side. So Dame was adamant about getting out of there. I guess he thought he was going to push and get to Miami, but he ends up in Milwaukee. And personally, when that trade happened, I thought that was going to be a great situation because you have a floor stretching shooter like Dame. Now, his scoring is going to go down because he's not going to get every shot, but you have a floor stretching shooter like Dame and a guy like Giannis who loves to attack and try to get downhill. So I thought that could be a perfect match in terms of them guys playing together. But clearly I was wrong. Not that they're terrible, but it doesn't seem to mesh properly. And could it be that Dame is seeing Giannis's offensive deficiencies? Now, here's the thing. Giannis just he lacks a toolkit, right? He lacks an offensive toolkit. And no one is ever going to knock Giannis's work ethic. But it looks like there's just some parts of his game that there's just some parts of his game that just are never going to improve. And I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the deal with that? Why can't he get any better? Is it because he started playing ball so late? Like, I don't know. But regardless, Giannis, I don't know. Dame not naming Giannis as one of the guys that he wants to play with, even if he was lying, like you say Giannis, like I didn't think that was cool at all. So we know that Dame excels in the pick and roll. So now you ask, okay, what's up with the coaching? Like Adrian Griffin before. Now you got Glenn the consultant, Doc Rivers, shout out Man Down Podcast, Glenn the consultant. But in all seriousness, where's the coaching? Because if it's me, I'm trying to make these dudes the modern day Stockton and Malone. Now we know Giannis is not going to be the guy who's going to pick and pop like Malone did later in his career. But again, if Giannis sets the pick and then rolls, quickly towards the basket, he's in position for an ollie. He's in position for a pocket pass, a bounce pass. We know Dame can make those. And Giannis is going to finish at the rim or get fouled. Or he clears it out so that Dame can pull up right there. I mean, you can do the pick and roll from outside three, top of the key. I mean, that's a good position for those guys to be in. And so if I'm coaching the Bucks, I'm watching like every variation of the pick and roll that John Stockton and Karl Malone did. And I'm trying to incorporate that into my playbook and having these guys watch the tape too, because that's what Dame is great at. And you got a guy like Giannis who can take advantage of that going downhill. Again, he's not going to do the pick and pop, not with regularity, but the pick and roll could work. So I don't understand, like, what's the issue here? And so, yeah, if you're Dame, why would you not at least lie and say Giannis, right? That's your teammate. Do you want to start causing issues and difficulties between yourself and Giannis, the two best players on the team? Do you want to do that? Or are you trying to put yourself in a position to maybe force and facilitate another trade and end up in Miami where you wanted to be from the beginning? Who knows? But here's a question. In what world, I'm getting back to this again because I just don't get it. In what world would you take Bam Adebayo over Giannis? Like, what does Bam do better than Giannis? Shoot the mid-range. I think that's about it. He's not a better defender. He's not a better rebounder. He's not a better scorer. He's not a better passer. Like, what does he do better than Giannis? In what world would you take Bam over Giannis? I don't get it. I can't understand it. So I guess you have to wonder, how does something like that affect Dame and Giannis, their relationship going forward? Do we start seeing some fractures in that relationship? Does it cause problems? Does Dame try to force his way out of there this offseason? I guess they got to, unless they win a championship, right? How does Glenn, the consultant, aka Doc Rivers, how does he work this out? How does, because he's supposed to be a guy that's really good in terms of managing people and really massaging egos and stuff like that. Obviously, we know he's not the greatest in X's and O's because we've seen all these playoff flameouts. But that's really the question. How is that going to work out? And the thing is, Giannis recently stated again, because I guess he was asked about it, and he said unequivocally, this is Dame's team. So Giannis is not allowing his ego to get in the way, at least not from what he says. He may be playing differently. I haven't watched a ton of Bucks games this year, but at least from what he says, he's not allowing his ego to get in the way. He wants Dame to know that this is your team. When it comes down to it, you are going to be the guy that's going to take us home. And so, he's trying to ingratiate Dame and welcome Dame and make Dame feel like this is it. But for some reason, it just doesn't seem to be working. And I just thought that was so weird, a situation where Dame is asked to name his five and his teammate there, who's one of the best players in the league, he doesn't name him. That doesn't make any sense to me, even if Dame had to lie. So I'm going to go ahead here and open up the phone lines again. And call in right now. Number is 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. If you got a comment on that, you can go ahead and give us a call. And I'm going to go ahead at this point and move on to the next topic. And if you want to call in, go ahead and do that, and we'll talk about it.